Club VITO is on. Your only connection to the very important top officer and unlimited sales success. Your host, Anthony Parinello, is a best-selling author. He's trained over 2 million sales professionals and 65 of the Fortune 100. This program will take you to sales heaven and keep you out of sales hell. So turn it up. Now, here's your host, Tony Parinello.
Hello, everybody. Yes, it is Tony Parinello with a little bit of tough love for you today. And the reason it's going to be some tough love is I'm going to tap you on the shoulder here and ask you, have you been opening up your emails that Coach Steve and I have been sending you? The 4-part series of goal setting and goal achievement? If not, you're falling behind the power curve here. And here's why. We know right now, and actually it doesn't almost matter what time of year it is, but as we enter in any new season, whether it's the beginning of a quarter, the beginning of a new year, the beginning of spring or summer or fall or winter, it's a perfect time, actually any time is a perfect time, for you folks to understand how to set goals and achieve your goals. Now, this 4-part series we've sent out is timeless. And it lays out the framework for you folks to establish your goals and achieve them in this lifetime without dreaming about something that's going to happen in the future. Because the future is now. And right now with me is head coach Steve Dailey with a little bit more of tough love. So, Coach Steve, welcome.
Thanks, Tony. And yes, tough love in a package coming at you.
Yeah, the rope-a-dope punch, the 1-2 punch right here of tough love.
There you go. Exactly.
So
I love it.
Coach Steve, one of the, and I know this to be true for all of us, myself included, is that we have habits. Some of these habits we have are not in our best interest, and it's hard to change a habit. I've always thought it's better to replace a habit with a different habit. That's a little bit easier for me.
Sure.
But,
sure.
you know,
yeah.
in looking at this goal setting and goal achievement task that we have that's upon us, that we should be taking these steps, what's some great advice you can give us to push us into action here and maybe get rid of this old habit of not writing down our goals or not even having goals
Right.
or just thinking they're going to happen
Right.
by looking up at the sky with our hands outstretched? You know, give us some advice here on how to move past or replace a habit that's holding us back and adapt a habit that says we will listen to and take action on these 4-step, the 4-step program, as we'll call it.
The 1st step. We need to have meetings, don't we? We need to have regular 4-step meetings.
Yeah, and sponsors. And let's get some sponsors.
Yeah, and exactly.
Yeah, what the heck? Yeah.
So anyway, look, let's start with this, Tony. I think it's really important to acknowledge or notice that we all have habits, and we've got some good habits and we have some bad habits. I mean, it's okay. It's great to have habits, and it's common for a person to look at their unproductive or the habits that they kind of feel guilty about and obsess over those things. But I think if we're going to start the conversation with habits, I think you also want to take a look at the habits that you have that you're proud of and are productive for you, because that will inspire the fixing or replacing of the things that don't work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So what do? Start writing down? Like, it's so funny. As soon as you said be proud of the good habits, I wrote down the first thing that came to my mind from one of my good habits is I'm very giving.
Yes.
I like to give. I like to serve people. So I wrote that down. Is that kind of what I should be doing?
You're going in the right direction. Give you some categories of habits that you want to examine. So, for example, we have habits with respect to how we use time. What time we get up, what time we go to bed, what time we go work out. If we do that, what time we work. There's time as a habit. We have habits for how we spend or allocate money. We have habits with regards to self-care, how we take care of ourselves, habits in our environment. Whether we clean up, whether you wash your plate after you're done eating, whether you pick up the fast food wrappers out of the back seat, or not. We also have a big habit that I've been talking about to a lot of folks here at the beginning of the year, Tony, is negotiation versus completion is a habit or a habit area. What things do we tend to sort of compromise? And so I'm just priming the pump here. We have thinking habits, behavior habits. And you might even call your routines as habits. I think you and I at one point talked about whether you put your right sock on before your left sock. There's a lot of unconscious habits that become routines, and that's a category to take a look at. And again, positive or negative, those that support you and those that don't. Good evaluation.
Coach Steve, let me read these categories back to you. The use of time, this way we spend and apply money, our self-care, environment, negotiation versus completion. Then I wrote compromise, and then I wrote routines down. And so as I was writing these down, isn't it funny? The habits I started thinking of in every category were self-destructive habits that I have.
Yeah.
That's what came to mind first. Is that normal, or am I a weirdo?
It is normal, and why I started with let's look at all your habits. You got to recognize this. And by the way, as you were going through the list again, let me add one that we shouldn't overlook, and that is our language. Our language to ourself, that is how we speak. Language to ourselves and to others. And I'm not talking about cuss words. I'm talking about positive or negative. Redundant or concise, truth or kind of marginal, abundant versus scarcity. There's language here, but yes, Tony, it is normal to look at or immediately think of what we, like I said earlier, what we feel guilty about. But it's really important to recognize that we have positive habits. Everything that you've achieved up to this point in your life is directly related to your habits, your thinking habits and your behavior habits. And so, Tony, just as my good friend and colleague here, your life is absolutely not a mess. You might think it is some days. You're pretty damn extraordinary, my friend.
Wow, thank you. Thank you for saying that. But it's interesting, Coach Steve. No matter, and you taught me this, no matter where we're at in our life, what plateau we're at, there's always the next highest plateau that we're reaching for. And I remember this years ago. You taught me this, is that wherever I'm at, I could always reach across and help somebody get to their next highest plateau as I achieve and go for my next highest plateau. The time we stop reaching for the next highest plateau, I think it's over. I think the game is done.
I agree with you, and you're going to use. We're talking about two sides of the same coin. As they say, you can't have a coin without both the heads and the tail. So we've got the positive things, the positive habits, routines, rituals that we have in our life that have got us to the positive states or stages that we're proud of. And then we have the not so productive habits, routines, and rituals that have been erosive or perhaps self-induced obstacles to the things that we know we have the potential to have or become in our life. What you're talking about is the next threshold. And so let's look at both of those things, reevaluate them, and just recognize this very simple and fundamental truth. If you want to reach a new plateau or a new threshold or a new level of achievement, you must change some things. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, you get the same thing. So what do you change? Habits, routines, and rituals.
Boy, that sounds easy. Coach Steve, I'm on my third page of notes already, and on the third page, I made my Ben Franklin list. You draw a line down the center, and then plus on one side, minus on the other. And now should I put at the top of each of these, maybe I should have a page for each individual category. Use of time, that's page 1 with plus or a minus. How I spend and apply money, plus and minus. And then start writing down and take this as an assignment for myself, writing down all the negative habits I feel I have and all the plus habits I feel I have for each one of these categories on a Ben Franklin list. So then it's very visual. I could see what's maybe holding me back or what habit I need to exchange for a different habit or something like that. Is that making sense?
Love it. I love your instant application here. And yeah, it's perfect. But let's up the ante a bit. So let's change positive and negative with support or erode.
Oh, I love that. Hold on. Support or erode.
And at the top of the page should be some description in general or specific as you want to be as far as what your aspiration for the coming year is. So when it comes to, hitting my best ever income, let's look at habits, routines, and rituals that either support or erode my access to my best ever income.
I love this. I love this. And now my little chart has taken on a whole different focus and meaning because I'm applying it to one general, one specific aspiration.
There you go. Now, let's conclude then. Once you get your list, I love what you've done here. I'm going to start talking about it today. I do something similar with clients, but I love the simplicity of what you've done here. So let's do this as a wrap on the process, and that is to circle the things, the 1, 2, or 3, no more than that, 3 things, up to 3 things that you're going to focus on correcting or improving, and then the 1, 2, or 3 things that you want to absolutely make sure you're continuing. Now, it won't be difficult the continuing part. Maybe put them in 2 different colors, but I mentioned 1, 2, or 3 things max that you're going to focus on correcting, because it's easy to get overwhelmed when we start setting goals and breaking down the process to achieve them. It's easy to get overwhelmed, and that is one of the, I would say, in the top 1 or 2 reasons that people fail in achieving their goals, is that they can get so detailed and elaborate and exhaustive that they just kind of want to go take a nap instead of get to work when they're done.
Well, have you been spying on me, Coach Steve? Because I love making this more simple, because I was getting a little overwhelmed, or even just by writing this out. But I love that circle 1, 2, or 3, correcting the items I need to correct or improve. And you know what's interesting about being overwhelmed? It goes right back to the thing you said about completion a few minutes ago. You mentioned the word completion. I when I walk into something like I have a warehouse with my car collection in the back, and I've got some boxes that I need to unpack. I went out and I looked at that, and just by looking at the boxes, I felt overwhelmed, and I turned around and I went and did something that was more fun to do. So isn't that crazy? Those boxes have been sitting back there.
That's a great analogy.
I mean, really, I went and did something fun, like I started up one of my hot rods, and I revved up the engine. That was fun, and the boxes are still back there unpacked.
Right. So next time you walk out there, pick one box, pal, and then just go at it that way.
Maybe I got it. Coach Steve, this is precious. I almost want to drop the microphone down here and run back and do that. I'm going to put a number. I'm going to put a number on each box, 1 through 10. Perfect. And then I'll just go back and just start at 1 and unbox that one, and then I'll feel good about that. Then I'll go start up my hot rod and listen to the engine.
That's right. As a reward.
As a reward. I love this. This is so simple.
Yeah. No, perfect. Yeah, I'm glad you asked about habits. It's absolutely, as I said, I've been talking a lot with here early in the year with folks. The goal setting conversation is predictive, especially when you're talking to your coach. But this behind it, a massive one. It's huge.
So let me ask you this. How would I find in this list, after I go through doing the 1, 2, 3 and making doing exactly what we've been talking about doing here, how would I bring my attention to the most important 1, 2, 3?
You're going to know. It's the habit that you think about. It's top of mind. But you're for whatever reason, and we can have a whole nother conversation. In fact, maybe in a future show we should talk about it. But the whole list of motives for avoidance or procrastination or delay or denial. But and that's why I say just 1, 2, 3.
It's funny you mention that, Coach Steve, because I look at the common denominator of all this, and that's our health and our fitness. Because without great health and fitness, we can't do anything else. Everything else is going to suffer.
I can't agree more. And I'm probably a zealot when it comes to that whole category. But you're right. It is the fuel, the substance, the enablement for everything that we're trying to accomplish. And when it's missing, if you're not paying attention to it, you don't have good habits, rituals, and routines in that area, it will absolutely be erosive.
Yeah, to everything else we want to do and accomplish, and to those around us, too. We become a burden rather than
absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely true.
Interesting. Well, listen, Coach Steve, this has been absolutely wonderful. In the last 16 minutes, you have given us this beautiful roadmap. Together, we've formulated an easy pathway to revisiting the 4 sessions we sent out. There were 4 different emails, Club VITO members, and everyone else who's listening to our voices right now or in an archive. You've received 4 emails, each one of them with a short segment on how to set your goals and accomplish those goals. If you missed that in any way, shape, or form, let us know. Raise your hand and we'll send it out again. It's never too late to examine this. However, in the meantime, pay attention and do what Coach Steve and I have been talking about doing right here for the last couple of minutes. And Coach Steve, I'll give you the last word on all of this.
Yeah, I'm going to just reinforce what you just said. I'm on Tony's list as well. And when that came out, I went, oh, yeah, I remember that. And I've been listening to those things, too. And I say that because, you might say, well, kind of, Coach Steve, you were the one talking, and you and Tony, why would you? Because I need reminding, too. I need refreshing. I need to be new, is the way I like to say it, in order to achieve more and be fresh and climb higher. So go back and listen to those things, or go dive into your archives access and get into that stuff and be new for the new year here.
Coach Steve, I can't help it. I said I'd give you the last word, but I can't help going back to this be new, those 2 words. Be an amateur. Even though you're a professional in what you do, Coach Steve just turned into an amateur listening to his own work and then coming out and saying, wow, I got to do that, or whatever. Be an amateur in every aspect of our life gives us a new page to start writing some greater stuff on. I love it. Coach Steve, thank you so much for being who you are and doing what you do. And Club VITO members, without you, there would be no Club VITO. So thanks for doing that, and have a masterful rest of the day. And Coach Steve, I'll give you the last word.
How about this? Let's kick ass in 2018.
You've been listening to Club VITO with Tony Parinello. Stay in touch with us 24 hours a day at VITOselling.com or call us with comments and suggestions. This program and its entire contents are the property of Anthony Parinello. Unauthorized duplication or rebroadcast without express written permission of Anthony Parinello is prohibited and unlawful under U.S. copyright law.